What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today Apple released iOS 26 Beta 2 to registered developers exactly 2 weeks after the release of Beta 1. Now along with this update, Apple also released the second beta for iPadOS 26, watchOS 26, macOS 26, tvOS 26, and visionOS 26. But of course in this video we are talking all about iOS 26 Beta 2 and everything that is new and everything that has changed here with this second beta. So first off, you can see the size came in at roughly 4 gigabytes, so 3.84 gigabytes on my iPhone 16 Pro Max, so do expect a pretty hefty size for this second beta if you're coming from Beta 1. And then if we check out the build number, if we go into our settings, general about 26, you could see that the new build is 23A5276F. So we now have an F at the end of the build number. We had a U in Beta 1 after the re-release. We do also get an update for the modem firmware on the iPhone 16 series. So that is now 2.03.00. It was 2.02.01 before. All right, so now what's new here in iOS 26 Beta 2? And the first thing has to do with the default wallpaper. So you can see that now when you move your device, the background moves with it, just like Apple demoed at WWDC. And in Beta 1, that was not the case. When you moved your phone, it did not move along with it. So it now looks so much better to use the default wallpaper on iOS 26. Now, one of the biggest complaints about iOS 26 Beta 1 was in the control center and how the background blur was just not strong enough, how the icons would kind of overlap right there. Well, that has been fixed with Beta 2. So if you take a look at Beta 2 over here on the right, the background blur is a lot more prominent. So there's more blur in the background now, and now the buttons stand out a little bit more and it's not as busy. And there's even a change to the overall look of every button in the control center now. So it has more of like a frosted glass look, I would say. It's not just like pure glass like it was in Beta 1, and you just kind of have to look at these side by side to tell the difference, but you can see every single toggle, everything in here has a different look to it. And that does expand to the notification center as well. So there's a little bit more of a blur behind each notification bubble. It's just a little bit easier to read than it was in Beta 1. There's a new animation when you tap on the edit button right here after going into jiggle mode on your home screen. So that was Beta 1, and take a look at the new animation here in Beta 2. So it's kind of just a quick little fly out to the right there, and it's just more fluid as well than it was in Beta 1. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but with Beta 1, the Safari application was probably the hardest to get used to. So the new design at the bottom was not the best, and also there were multiple things missing, but a lot of those have been fixed here with Beta 2. So if you take a look down at the bottom, we now have a forward and back button. Before, we only had a back button. Even if we went to multiple, if we go right here to go forward and we go back, you can see there's no forward button like there is now in Beta 2. But the best thing in my opinion is that now when you go to the menu right here, we now have the all tabs option down in the bottom right, where your thumb kind of just naturally gravitates to, instead of being all the way up here in the top right, and it made it hard to get to all tabs. So that's been moved. And also when you go to the all tabs view, take a look at this. Down at the bottom, we have a new little bar here, and also we have a new tab option in the bottom left. Before, that was all the way up here for some reason in the upper left-hand corner in the middle. It was very awkward to open up a new tab in Beta 1, but that has been fixed here with Beta 2 because it's now down in the bottom left, and in the bottom right is a check mark, which just takes you right back to the page you were on before that was up in the top right. Also, if you tap on the ellipses menu up in the top left-hand corner, we have a couple of changes here. So Manage Tab Groups now has a new glyph icon to the left of it. And then also you can see we have a select tabs option. So now if you tap on that, you can select tabs easily. So if we do that, you can see we can just tap on these and you can delete all at once. So you can close or move, it says up there. Or if you tap on the 3 dots, you can pin or copy the 2 links. So the 2 URLs of those tabs. Also, there's a new glyph icon to the left of add bookmarks. It now has a plus next to the book. Before it was just the book. Also, when you go to the start page, it now shows your profile up at the top like this, and you can tap on that to change. Before, it was just like this little icon up here in the top, and you had to tap on that and then you could change. It didn't actually show you what profile it was without tapping on it, just showed the icon. So that's been changed as well. I also just like the layout at the bottom better in beta 2 because it doesn't take up the entire screen. Like you could see on beta 1, it was borderline getting cut off over here near private and untitled. Now it's just like kind of centered right there, and it's a lot cleaner looking. There's a new ringtone in beta 2. So if we head into our settings and go to sounds and haptics and then into ringtone, you'll notice that right here under reflection, we now have an arrow to the right because when you tap on that, we now have a new one called Alt 1. So I'm sure that will be changed. That is just the beta title now, but we do have a new ringtone. Here's what that sounds like. So that could be the iPhone 17's default ringtone, but that has been added here with beta 2. In the wallet application, if you tap on the three dots up in the top right, and then you go to orders, you can see this is where you can have your shipments tracked in the wallet application. So this was actually working in beta 1, but there's a new splash screen that's been added with beta 2 that says track orders from mail, and you have the option to allow or not allow the wallet application to basically be able to pick up what your orders are from the mail application. So it will auto detect those and add them to wallet. But if you don't want that, you can disallow it. We have a couple of changes in the camera application. So in beta 1, when you tapped to disable or enable the flash or night mode, it would just basically change up here as the glyph icon, but you would not get a label for it. But that's been fixed with beta 2 because now when you tap on flash, you can see we now have a label that says flash auto or flash off. And then also for night mode. So if we invoke this, you can see it says night mode off and night mode auto. So that's been adjusted. And then also for video, when you go over to video, so we'll slide over to video right here, up in the top left-hand corner, this has been changed as well, because if you look on beta 1, it would show the format up in the upper left-hand corner. Now it does not. It just says 4K 30 FPS. And also when you tap on that, you can see that it does show the format there. It just doesn't show it in the preview window while you're on the main screen right here. Now also, interestingly, if we head into our settings for camera and then head into indicators, we no longer have a format option for video. So you can see under video, we now only have an option for action mode. There's a couple of changes in the messages application. So first off, if you had an animated wallpaper in the background, it was extremely laggy and glitchy on beta 1, but that has been fixed here with beta 2. It's not nearly as bad as it was in beta 1. Also, if you tap on the people up in the top right here, if you're in a group chat, you will notice a change here as well. So in beta 1, it would show everything. It would show backgrounds, photos, links, documents, locations, wallet, all of that, even if there was nothing in there. So if I go to documents, you can see there's nothing there. But now it's smart with beta 2 because it only shows the option for items that are actually in that thread. So in this thread, there's only photos, so it only shows photos as a menu to go into. It doesn't show locations, wallet, links because there are none in that chat. And if you tap on the filter option in the bottom left-hand corner, we now have a check mark for what we selected. So I believe this was just a bug in beta 1. If you selected something, it would not show a check mark next to it, so you wouldn't really know what was selected. Now here's something I noticed that's changed in the notes application with beta 2. So if you select some text in beta 1, take a look at the toolbar at the bottom. So it stays the same right here where we have the formatting options, we have the table, all of that. Honestly, I never use any of that. I usually swipe over just so I can get to bold, underline, things like that, add a link, different things like that. Well, I think Apple realized that because now with beta 2, when you select some text, take a look at the toolbar, it automatically defaults to swiping over, and now it pulls up these different options that you actually use a lot more frequently, like bolding, adding a link, and so on. And if you swipe over, the indentions have been reversed. So before it was left indent and then right indent, now it's right and then left. If we go back to our settings and go into Apple Intelligence and Siri, and then go down to the ChatGPT extension, we have a change here under advanced capabilities. So now we have two different limits. So we have image limit and other requests. Before in beta 1, it just said daily limit, and if you are under or over the limit. So now it breaks it down and gives you more details if you're over the limit on images or just for everything else. Also right here under Siri, before it said confirm ChatGPT requests. Now it just says confirm requests. And also the description underneath of that has been adjusted. And also in the settings application, everything is spaced a little bit differently. So before in beta 1, there was more padding around each individual settings icon and text. Now you can see there's a little bit less padding. It's a little bit more condensed than it was in beta 1. And if we head into our battery settings and go down to power mode, we have a new description for low power mode. So if you see beta 1 on the left, beta 2 on the right, a slight change, a little bit more details about low power mode. There's also a new recovery assistant feature. So Apple actually mentioned this in the release notes. So it says recovery assistant is a new way to recover your device if it doesn't start up normally. It can look for problems and attempt to resolve them if found. So this is low-key a huge feature. So this is going to allow you to restore your device without the need of a computer. So if you guys remember, with iOS 26 beta 1, it actually bricked devices, and these people had to go to their computer and restore, their phone from the computer. They could not do it without one. But now with this new recovery assistant feature, it might be able to recover and kind of restore your phone without the need of a computer. That's a big deal. I've also noticed that when you screenshot with beta 2, at the bottom it now shows ask and image search pretty much every time. Before in beta 1, it would not always populate. Sometimes if I took a screenshot of a web page, it would not allow me to ChatGPT or search on Google for it. So now I can do that, and it just works more often than it did before. Now, as far as bug fixes go, there are a lot of bug fixes in iOS 26 beta 2. So if you had a lot of bugs, especially UI bugs in beta 1, a lot of those have been fixed. Pretty much all of my issues have already been fixed with beta 2 in terms of UI bugs. So you can see here on the lock screen, one of my most annoying bugs, since I'm always in a focus mode, is that the focus mode and the widgets would overlap. So that was a big issue in beta 1, as you can see right here on the left, but that has been addressed and fixed in beta 2. Recording a video right there, it shows it's a little bit lower now than it was in beta 1. And there was also another bug in that area. So if you activated the album artwork right here, the animated album artwork, you can see that there was kind of a gap there that was left for the widgets at the bottom, but now that's been removed with beta 2. So it looks a lot cleaner, and this just looks really weird on beta 1. Clearly a UI bug, but that has also been fixed here with beta 2. Also in beta 1, if you swipe over to clear, you can see that the animation is very laggy. There's really not much of an animation at all, unlike everything else in iOS, but with iOS 26 beta 2, that has been fixed. So now if you go to clear, you can see that we get a more fluid animation for clear right there. And if we take a look at the release notes for beta 2, these are jam-packed. So I'm not going to be able to mention everything, but I will leave this down in the description below. So there are fixes for Image Playground, the TV application, multiple fixes related to apps and app installs, journal application, and a lot more. And then I did also want to mention this bug. So this is a known issue that Apple has listed here in the release notes, and it says software updates might reserve more space than necessary. So this update could be reserving more space than it actually needs. So that's one thing to keep in mind, especially if you are somebody who does not have a lot of storage space free. Now, another bug that I noticed, which it might not actually be a bug because Apple's been shifting over to a left aligned approach for text and things like that. But if you move an application out of the dock, take a look at that. The dock stays left aligned. So before, everything would recenter automatically, but not anymore with beta 2. And like I said, this may or may not be a bug. This could be intended behavior, but we'll have to wait and see with future updates. But I just found that pretty interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the performance and the battery life with iOS 26 beta 2, because beta 1 was very bad in terms of performance and battery life. That's typical, that's expected for a first beta, but especially when you have a redesign like we have with iOS 26. So how is it on beta 2? And I have to say, pretty much right away, I was able to notice that the performance is better on beta 2. Thankfully, it's noticeably better in pretty much every area. In messages, just the micro stutters I had just really anywhere throughout iOS. Like even when I'm going into settings and going in and out of different settings, it was very stuttery, very laggy in beta 1. It's still there a little bit, but it's not nearly as bad as it was in beta 1. So I do think performance has improved quite a bit here with beta 2, actually more than I anticipated. So if you take a look, I did also run a fresh Geekbench 6 test. If we look at our scores, you can see the latest score up top. So we scored a 3463 single core, 8563 on the multi-core. So you can see it is a little bit higher than our most recent run on beta 1. Not a huge difference, but again, that doesn't really tell you the full story. I think the main issue with performance in beta 1 was really just related to all of the micro stutters, and a lot of those thankfully have been fixed for me here so far in beta 2. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I will update you guys again on Saturday in my Apple Weekly episode if anything changes. Now, as far as battery life goes, you guys will have to tell me what I started this video with. I'm at 82% right now. Don't look at the screenshot in the very beginning, but take a look at when I first started showing features. 82% right now. That seems pretty solid. I believe I was around like 89 or 90% at the beginning. So still not great, but I do think, at least so far, just from testing it, the battery life does also seem to be improved. Now, the device does still get quite warm, but I wouldn't say it gets hot like it did in beta 1. Like beta 1, my device was frying. I could cook an egg on the back, but now in beta 2, it gets warm, but I wouldn't say it gets hot, which is an improvement. So still some work to be done. Of course, as expected, that is a beta for you, but I think battery life will be better here with beta 2. But once again, I will update you guys because I do have this on my main device as well. I will update you guys at the end of the week in Apple Weekly how the battery life has been doing throughout this week. Okay, so now let's talk about what to expect next from Apple, because we are going to see the public beta next month in July, but we're going to get developer beta 3 before that. So I would expect to see iOS 26 developer beta 3 in 2 more weeks. So most likely on the week of July 7th. So Apple has been sticking to these Monday releases. So the best bet is going to be Monday, July 7th for iOS 26 developer beta 3. And then after that, we should see the public beta for iOS 26, the very first public beta. So we could see that either the same week or most likely the following week. So we should be seeing that sometime around July 14th, if I had to guess. But of course, Apple is unpredictable. Apple does what they want to do. So I would expect it though at some point in mid-July. But of course, if you want to know exactly when that software is going to be released, make sure you follow me over on X. And of course, keep it locked here to the channel because I will be covering every single beta here on the channel. But anyways, guys, that is iOS 26 beta 2. I'm going to spend the rest of the week looking for even more new features and changes, and I will bring those to you guys later on this week or this weekend in the Apple Weekly episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future iOS 26 videos. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.